What's up, Internet? Welcome back to the Wallet Monkey channel, where we give you all the credit intel you need to grow your wallet. Today, I want to cover two common questions that I actually still see getting asked across the FICO forums and across the credit space all the time. And those are the following. Should you pay in full, or PIF, every single month, or carry a balance? And the second question is no activity, and talking about cancel requests and cards getting shut down due to not being used. Okay, so let's dive into the first one. Obviously, you guys can see, I lay out my hand for you up front so you can see all the pieces here, but let's, yes, pay in full or carry a balance. Well, this, depending on how long you've been in the game, this might actually be like really, really basic, right? But there is a ton of people coming into credit every single day. Education levels are at different points. And so I think it's great that we still have a ton of people that are coming to the corral, let's call it, of education, trying to figure out what to do. Because credit education is not taught in schools, and it should be. If they're going to give you a weapon, they need to teach you how to use it, right? When you get a firearm, you're taught how to use it, correct? So this is no different, because if you use this improperly, it will destroy your life. So, pay in full versus carrying a balance. Here's the details that you need to know. It really doesn't, that's not the proper question to ask. The proper question to ask is statement date versus due date, and then playing around in that. Because if the goal is to avoid interest, then we need to make sure that we do this properly. So, carrying a balance versus paying in full does not impact credit scores. It's reported balance that matters. So the amount that squeaks through, that is actually reported to the credit bureaus. So the time of the statement date versus what's owed. So there's a way to play this. So we let the small balance roll over the statement date, and then we pay it before the due date. That's how you would do this the best proper way. Okay, if a card's paid down to zero before the statement date, which is usually the same date the lender reports balance to the credit bureaus, they are treated as no activity. Having $0 or no activity on your credit report is seen as higher risk than carrying a $10, $20, $30 balance, believe it or not. This will actually drop your score anywhere between 2 to 10 points for having zero activity. So, like I said, it's better to have one or two cards at least that you're putting a small balance on. And if you've got a larger amount of cards, then every 3 months, you can just set yourself a Google Calendar alert and go spend 8, 10, 20 bucks on that card, pay it down to make sure that every card is getting used so that we're avoiding this no activity cancel request, which we'll get into in just a second. Okay, so I think that's it. So yeah, pay after the statement date, but before the due date to avoid interest. Yes? All right. So that wraps up that. So no activity and cancel requests. Well, the easiest way to avoid this completely is to just put small amounts to spend every 3 to 4 months on a card. Now, the question gets asked all the time. Well, and it's usually about a specific bank. Cap One, Discover, FNBO. Will, XYZ bank close my card for no activity? And the answer is yes. Every single bank will. Every single bank will eventually. So you have to use these cards. And it's better for you to use them and keep them open, because it's keeping the average age of accounts, which is a big factor with your credit score, the FICO pie chart. It's better to have those and leave them open than to close them down, unless you're trying to create space or you're maxed out in some sort of way. That's when you would make changes to it, right? But overall, you should just be putting a small amount of spend on them, right? Some banks will actually send you out a letter and just say, hey, basically, if you don't start using the card, we're going to close the account. Some will just do it, or they'll just chop limits. That's another thing you want to avoid, because then you're going to start to get substantial changes to your utilization, depending on where you're sitting at, if they start chopping limits. So yes, no activity, cancel requests. Every single bank will do it at some point or another. Again, use a quarterly economic metric as really your staple. There's 4 quarters in a year, right? Taxes are broken down that way. Businesses are run that way. So that is the easiest way to process this and keep track of this. Once every 3 to 4 months, put a little bit of spend on all the cards that are in rotation. Don't just throw them in a sock drawer and forget about them, unless you're also okay with them getting closed. If you want to keep the age, though, keep them open, right? Because you'll either get a letter, or worse, you'll just get a notification that your credit limit has been chopped. And that'd be even worse to get that, because there's zero ramification you can do at that point. You would have to start all over again with trying to ramp up spending and paying it down, and spend and pay it down for them to, again, qualify you in anywhere between 3 to 12 months to then once again get a credit limit increase. That'd be way worse to do it like that, okay? So again, proactive versus reactive. So there you go. 2 really common questions I still see getting dropped on a weekly basis in the forums and hopefully some answers that'll help you navigate. So if you got something to add or something to say, comment below. If you want to help this video get out in front of more people, share it or just click the like button. And then if you're brand new here and you like this sort of thing, then take a second, subscribe, hit the bell notification, turn it to all, and we'll see you again real soon.